who the hell we think we are when we do something like that.
What's up, fight fans? This is the Combat Connection. I'm Brett Cagle, joined as always by Eddie Law. And we're coming off of a UFC Fight Night card where Manel finished Brandon Royval in an impressive manner. We've got a lot to talk about, and we're also going to go over our awards for this year. Eddie, what did you make of the main event last weekend? Manel really made a statement going in there against Brandon Royval, who I thought returned a little bit too early following the loss to Joshua Van.
It was a little early, but I think Brandon was in a hurry to get back on track, and it bit him in the ass, honestly. And I mean, Manel brought everything, right? He brought obviously, hands. He got speed, timing, and titties. It's everything you need in a fight where one dude clearly looks fucking weird as shit, but he won, and he talks all this stuff afterwards. And Brandon Royval, unfortunately, gets another step backwards, and now we got to wonder how much further he is from a possible title shot.
Yeah, I think this really moves Brandon Royval to the back of the queue. But for Manel I think that he's next. He called out Joshua Van, said that the only reason that Joshua Van was even the champion right now is because he had to pull out of a fight, which you can't really disagree with. So I like Manel right now moving forward. And if he does go and fight Joshua Van, he has more high-level experience against some of the elite competition in the world.
That's cute. That's super cute from the guy that pulls out of every other fight. Fuck out of here with that Manel All right, let me just this is now knocking. I'm go after him now. Fuck that. Look how many. You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna show y'all on Topology how many canceled fights this dude, whether it's his fault or not. How many canceled fights? Oh, nice flannel. How many canceled fights this dude has? Cancel fight against Petoja. Cancel Sumadarajis. Cancel against Monterrey. Cancel Perez. Cancel Figgy. Cancel. Dude, I mean, you get where I'm going here.
Yeah.
Nicolau. Look how many cancellations, dude. Like Manel, if you want to be a champion and fight for a title, my guy, you got to be available.
Yep. Yeah, I was just going to say consistency, especially if you're a champion. How reliable can Manel be? We saw him also lose to a guy who's not even in the UFC right now, 30-27. So, there's that for you as well. I don't think that Makhachev even fights at 125 anymore. I believe he was competing at 135 over in Brave in the Middle East most recently. But for Manel is it a title shot next? Do you want to see him take on the winner of Tatsuro Taira and Joshua Van?
No. No. I mean, look, I don't know. Maybe I have a little like anti-Manel feel because of how irritating it is that he cancels a fight here and there, pulls out of this fight, pulls out of that fight, whatever happens with his injury or anything else. And then he wins a fight, and suddenly he's like, "Oh, I'm next title shot. I'm next." The only reason Joshua's the champion because this and that. Like, dude, I get it. I'm delusional too when I go do certain things. All right, I know shit that I should be able to pull off and stuff I don't deserve. And I'm delusional as well on some of that stuff. But get out of here. All right. Yeah. Will they give him a title shot? There's a chance. There's a solid chance. I feel like the UFC is not going to do that because of how unreliable he is. But who knows?
Yeah, he is unreliable, but I believe he's won 5 out of his last 6 now. It was 4 out of last 5 going into this weekend. Yeah. Great win from Manel really showcased his skills with the first round TKO victory. Eddie, but let's move on to the co-main event and talk about that real quick.
Kevin Vallejos, dude.
Vallejos, man. Kevin Vallejos, we've been all over this guy for a while. Athletic freak, gets the stoppage win this weekend. What did you think of this performance?
I mean, look, dude, he took out Giga Chikadze. Giga didn't know what the hell happened. He looked confused. Like he was shocked. First of all, in the first round, you could tell he was shocked at how bad he was doing. He wasn't doing good at all. Kevin beat him to every spot, landed, pretty much everything he wanted. In the second round, when it ended, like Giga didn't even see it coming. And then when he came to, he was like, wait a minute, what? Like it was wild. It was wild, but super hyped to have a guy like Vallejos, bringing it in featherweight, just stacking those featherweight contenders, keep it moving.
Yeah, for me, I was seeing that Giga, he always takes this cautious approach, right? He's the counter striker. He tries to crack you with a big strike as you come in. But he couldn't really do that with Kevin. As he was cautious and waiting for Kevin to come in. Kevin is such an explosive, fast athlete that he really wasn't able to sit there and pick him apart like he does other guys because of that explosiveness, that speed that was able to get on him and get in the inside. I think Kevin Vallejos right now, Eddie, is one of the brightest prospects we have in this division.
I'm excited to see what he's going to do, man. Honestly, I'm super excited for this kid in 2026. Again, very humble cat, very explosive, very athletic, and his IQ is only improving. Like you saw some of the moments in this fight that he had against Giga. Like it was like back in his first couple of fights in the UFC, it was openings that he would just explode towards, like kind of blind. He's not doing that as much anymore. He's definitely improving, definitely learning. I'm excited to see what he does.
Now, Eddie, he did have one of the worst call-outs I've ever seen in the history of we're covering this sport. He calls out Cub Swanson, who's in the corner of Giga and hasn't even fought in a year and a half, nowhere near the rankings. Kevin Vallejos, I believe, came into this fight. It's 15 overall in the world.
Yeah.
Like, how are you going to call out a dude who's a UFC Hall of Famer that hasn't even competed in the last 2 years? That's crazy to me. That's like Overeem calling out Brock Lesnar.
I know, right? No, I think honestly, I think he's just super excited. He saw Cub in the corner. He was like, "Oh yeah, give me the dude that should be retired at this point." I think that's what it was. I think a lot of people are putting a lot into it, saying, "Oh, he's an idiot." It's like, dog, he just won a fight against a guy that has a kick named after him. Fuck out of here with that. Of course, he saw Cub in the background and brain got scrambled. That guy. Because if Conor McGregor was behind him, guess who's calling out? That guy.
Yeah, I agree.
There you go.
So what's the next fight we have on here, Eddie? We had Cezary Oleksiejczuk, brother of Michael Oleksiejczuk, coming in here and picking up a big win over Cesar Almeida. But Eddie, it really wasn't done with the striking. It was done with the grappling, which we don't see very much out of the Oleksiejczuk brothers. But maybe some foresight there from the older brother, bringing him to the Fighting Nerds along with him later last year, because the ground game did show that it has improved for the Oleksiejczuk brothers, and Cezary was able to take Cesar Almeida down all 3 rounds and win this one 30-27 on the scorecards. Eddie, I thought this showed how well-rounded he is, and compared to his brother, I think he might even have more potential than Michael has.
While I agree that it was impressive the way he wanted, showing that he's got all the tools and everything, I was irritated. Dog, the last card of the year, you couldn't give me a war, bro. Like, come on, you don't think Almeida would have been down to strike? Almeida wanted to strike. Almeida looked irritated as shit. He kept getting shot on. You know what I mean? So I was irritated on that end. In terms of the actual talent and all that, he looks super well-rounded. I agree with you. Better than Mikal, honestly, in terms of like real roundedness. Now it's on, Mikal to come out next time and show he's got it too.
Yeah, I think so. But for this fight with Almeida, you can't really fight into the strength of your opponent, right? And Almeida, a great kickboxer, and he was given a little bit of problems to Cezary there in the first round when he tested him for like the first minute, 2 minutes before going to the ground. But the path of resistance just was not there. He was able to get this guy to the ground so easily. I feel like it was just smart to take the easy victory and move on to the next fight and kind of stay away from the problems that Cesar Almeida has cost people on the feet.
Fully agree. I mean, you do what you got to do to win the fight. And if that means not standing and just going to your strength or to a strength that you have and your opponent sucks at, hey, get the dub, dude.
Yeah, but I like this guy moving forward. I think that he's going to be a legitimate prospect. Yeah. Also very big for this weight division fight. So
he is. After that fight, Melquizael, what would you think of this one, man? Costa is looking like a dog.
I know we've been all over Melky Costa. Like, he came into the UFC, right? And like a lot of these guys we've seen, Chase Hooper, Edmund Shabazian, he struggled in the first couple fights when he came into the UFC, right? But I think unlike those guys, he's really used that as experience and grown into the fighter that we see today. He reminds me of, this is going out there a little bit, but when Charles Oliveira struggled early in his career, he was really largely a submission guy, didn't have the hands behind him. But as he grew in his career and kind of took some of those tough losses and learning lessons, he kind of molded himself into becoming a better fighter. That's what I see with Costa. A great Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, comes into the sport a little bit young, learning experiences, and now we see what this guy has with his hands. I mean, the kick this weekend, Eddie, didn't see it coming. And Morgan Charriere is an athletic guy and good with his hands himself. This was a stunning knockout in an even money fight. And I think Melky Costa really put his name, in the hat there moving forward in this division.
No, I think you're spot on. I had the exact same comparison. And I know people are going to be like, oh, you can't compare. Look, he's still younger on, Charlie's been around. Charlie Olive's been around forever. Okay. So he's got it. But Costa has a similar arc or whatever you want to call it, a rise to contendership. Just like you said, was a heavy grappler. You were only afraid of his grappling. You weren't afraid of him standing. Now you got to be worried on every end Now you can't be like, all right, well, I can just stand. I'm just got to stop takedowns. No, now you got to worry about getting hit with hands. All right, well, I got to block this. Now you got to worry about getting taken down. Pick your poison. What you going to do? It's going to be nice.
Yeah, I like this kid moving forward. Still young, in his 20s, too. And I mean, where do you think the potential is for him? Because I think he's a top 5 guy. I think he's somebody that could fight for a belt at some point. I think that his length at this weight class is good. He's got the jiu-jitsu we've talked about. And if he looks like anywhere that we've seen him in his last 2 fights on the feet continually improving, I think that this guy is going to be in title contention pretty soon.
Yeah, it kind of depends. Does he fight a top 10 guy?
Morgan was in like the 15 to 20 range.
Okay. Well, Well, okay, that's nice. Give him a top 10 guy next, and then we can know for sure if he's one of those guys that's like a fight or two away from a title. Certainly he's on the short list for short notice. He's an exciting fighter. He's clearly shown that. So if your title challenger falls off next time around, I would call him. I'd be like, hey man, you wanna do some crazy shit? Hell yeah, let's go. And because he'll actually give you a show, so it'd be fun to see. But I want to see him against the top 10 guy, and then we'll talk top 5 there.
Yeah, I think so too. I think probably 3-4 wins away there from title contention, but a good year next year, and we could be seeing this guy in serious fights moving forward. So, Eddie, which one? Oh, the draw here. I mean, Marcus Buchecha is so one-dimensional, Eddie. Like, I wanted him to be good coming in as a prospect. These guys that are coming over, like him and Royval to Spain, they just have one tool. And at this aspect of the game, 30 years in, he might have done great back in the first 15 UFCs, but I think the game has kind of moved on to where you have to have more in the skill set than just bringing the jiu-jitsu. And Eddie, he had this fight on the ground in positions where he was in back control. You know, for a dominant world jiu-jitsu champion, Eddie, how is this guy not able to finish fights against people who are not even, brown belts or black belts in jiu-jitsu? And he's getting in back control and not finishing fights. I'm just a little underwhelmed from what I've seen with Marcus Buchecha.
I've been saying for years that Marcus is not an MMA guy. He does not need to be fighting MMA. Stick to jiu-jitsu. Stick there. That's where your strength is. You know why? In jiu-jitsu, we don't have to wear gloves. We don't have to wear, we don't have to get our hands taped up. We don't have to do all the fucking Vaseline on your face. None of that stuff. Mm-hmm. You make weight. You get on the mat. You fucking go. That's it. Okay. And I know in one championship he got like 5 and he went 5-0 or 5-1, whatever it was, 5-1. And even in those fights, I was incredibly underwhelmed. The opponents weren't good. The the fights were just like kind of showcases for him. Yeah. So then he comes over here. There you go. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So coming in this fight, the fact that Kennedy was able to stop basically every single one of his attacks. If Kennedy eye poke? If Kennedy doesn't poke the shit out of his eye, Kennedy wins this fight. Kennedy lost his fight for himself. It was silly.
Yeah. And I hate that Marcus had to fight through there was about 3 or 4 fouls there, Eddie, in this one. And her team did take 1 point eventually. But Kennedy was grabbing the cage there in the 3rd round as well. Got
hell, dude.
Times without anybody seeing.
Over and over again. I'm sitting there like, dude, Herb, you're right there. What the? There's refs around the cage to watch that kind of shit. Nothing. Like, we can't have this kind of shit. It was look, let's not pretend that the UFC didn't phone this one in. And I think everybody at the UFC, not everybody, but I think most people are just ready for this break that we're just started off this week. And so it felt like they got phoned in a little bit. I think the fighters might have phoned in a little bit too. I think they just want to get through the last one, and that's what it was. But look, end of the day,
I mean, I hate that it's every week though, Eddie. I hate that it's every week we got to bring up one of these guys. If it's not Mark, if it's not Mark Smith, it's Herb Dean, and I don't know. It's just. I feel like some consistency would be great. There are great officials out there as well. I like Mark Goddard, and I think some other people do some good jobs as well.
Yeah, no, it's funny. It's funny that we're talking about the refs in MMA. I mean, I've been talking about the NFL refs all season long. They've been awful too. It's like reffing overall in every sport has been ass in 2025. Yeah.
You know who actually I was impressed with when the UFC was back in the Middle East for the Marab and Jan card. That Rich Mitch, he's no bullshit in there, man. He conducts the cage and looks like he is a former fighter and has an eye for the stuff. So I think he's a pretty good official, and hopefully he can get some more looks moving forward too.
Let's see how he does. All right, other fight that was on King Green took a split decision. I was bummed out for Lance.
Man. Bobby Green.
Oh yeah, but I was bummed out by Lance. Like Lance, Green got in his head.
He did.
King Green got in his head so hard that you could visibly see Lance go, oh shit, what is this?
Frustrating.
It was wild. Very quickly. What'd you think of the fight?
I mean, Bobby Green came in there, and like I said, it was kind of vintage Bobby Green, hands down at the side, talking shit. He made it a street fight. He made it his style of fight, an ugly one where he was walking down the opponent the entire time. And I thought that Bobby won this fight. How'd you have this one scored? It was split with the judges.
I had a unanimous for King. I honestly didn't think that Lance did enough to make it a split, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I thought so too, and I thought it was good for Bobby to get back in the win column here. Do you feel like him moving forward, coming off a couple losses, obviously some brutal losses there, Patty Pimblett, Jalen Turner, some bad stoppages? How much left in the tank do you think Bobby has moving forward?
Not a lot. I don't want. I'm in my mind. King Green is no longer to be considered for a title ever. I mean, I think it's. I think we're that far gone. We're talking about he snapped the 2-fight losing streak with the win over Lance Gibson, right? The Mo knockout, the Pimblet submission, and then he beat Jim Miller at UC 300. Yeah, cute, cool. Jim Miller is 1,000 years old, right? Lost to Jalen Turner before that. He's very up and down. So in terms of him being a contender of any kind, we're way past that. Now I want to see Green against guys that can strike just like him, just straight up guys that are willing to fight a dude that walks towards him, talking shit, like fainting at him and throwing hands from down here.
Yeah, I think there's some exciting matchups that can be made, especially with some comers to help build names moving forward for the rest of the division. But is there some? We got to talk about
this one.
Gets it done over Neil Magny.
What the fuck?
He looks nowhere like the fighter we saw against Jason Jackson after coming back. And maybe people were talking about him coming back from war in that Jason Jackson contest. Maybe there's more to that than what we originally thought, because coming back in here against a veteran like Neil Magny, Yaroslav Amosov made this look very easy. And there are fighters at the top of this division like Mike Malott who have not made it look so easy against Neil Magny in the past.
Yeah, no, I think Yaroslav came in going, I'm a former champion. I'm gonna drop my nuts on this table, bro. Fuck out of here. You think Neil Magny's gonna beat me?
Yeah.
I went to war, motherfucker. I went to Ukraine, all right, to my old house. I went into the fucking basement to find my old belt with my AK slung behind my back, dog. You think Neil Magny gonna beat me?
Yeah.
Hell no. I came in, balls out, fucking chest all out, like, what's up, bitch? Quick submission, beautifully done.
Yeah, beautifully done. And the last man to beat him, Jason Jackson, crazy enough, actually deleted his Instagram for whatever reason. Hope he actually gets hope he gets picked up by the UFC because he's a good fighter as well, and I think could make some waves in that weight class at 170 as well as Amosov. But Eddie, like you said, he's already been a champion in another weight in another promotion. He had the longest active win streak in the sport at one point in time at 29-0. Do you think this guy can get to the top at this weight class? There's a lot of grapplers up there just like him at 170.
Yeah, I want to see him against one of those guys. I mean, could he do it? Sure, right? Clock is ticking. 100% clock is ticking. But a win over Neil Magny in your UFC debut is fucking great way to start.
You know who I'd like to see him fight next? Give me Yaroslav Amosov versus Sean Brady after Sean Brady just came off that knockout loss to Michael Morales. Two grapplers against one another. Let's see what you guys' hands have.
If I'm Sean Brady, I don't take that fight, dog, at all. I'm not trying to get beat by this dude and give him a launching pad to a title shot. But, hey, I would like to see that fight too.
Yeah. So is there another fight you'd like to talk about on this before we kind of get into some of the news from boxing? Brito got a big win.
Asplin.
Asplin, yep. Woo! This was a war, Eddie. This was a war, man. Bloodbath. Ends up getting it done in the second round. Asplin showed his toughness in this one too because he took some big shots.
Dude, he has a chin, people. All right, go back to his LFA fights. He got hit harder in LFA by a couple of these dudes, okay? And Steven comes in here using his – why don't we talk about his length? His length is insane. His accuracy with said length, insane. This kid has a legitimate shot to at least be a contender. I don't know if he'll be a champion, right? But he's definitely have a shot, in my mind, to be a contender. Keep giving him guys. Just throw any heavyweight in there. All right, they're gonna feel the accuracy, the volume. It was like 170 significant strikes or some shit like that. He broke a record or something. Like those are Kane numbers. Those are 100% Cain Velasquez numbers. You're talking about like a guy who has at heavyweight has the power, has the length, and more importantly, the gas tank to drown dudes. It's fucking awesome.
That's what I was exactly going to say, the gas tank. Don't let the physique fool you. This guy can carry a fight through 15 minutes at this weight class, and that's something you don't see very often. So it could separate him moving forward. But, Eddie, here's the thing for me. Is Steven hasn't fought a grappler yet, right?
Right.
I think the matchup that is pretty obvious is between him and other Dana White Contender Series alum from this season, Josh Hokett. If they went one another, you'd have a grappler or a great athlete in Hokett versus a guy in Steven Asplund who could sell a fight alongside Hokett, who would obviously play the bully and, he'd probably call him fat and all this, but it'd make this fight would be a good hyped fight between two guys who are kind of unknown to the casual viewing public. And I think it would match up a striker versus a good athlete and grappler as well.
The only reason I don't want to see this fight, and I do want to see a fight, the only reason I would be against it is because the UFC would do something stupid like throw it in the fucking Apex. Okay, if you're gonna have,
it would,
huh?
Yeah,
But if you're gonna bring Hoki, a guy that can sell a fight, Stephen Aspin, a guy that can sell a fight, two guys that can fucking fight. If you throw him in the goddamn Apex, you wasted everybody's time, UFC. All right, throw him on a fucking numbered event. Don't even put him in a fucking Fight Night city. I don't give a shit about fucking Kansas City. No, I don't give a shit. Put him in a numbered event. All right, put him as the featured prelim. Let these guys do what they do best, sell themselves. Okay, and then the fight's gonna be great. We know these two guys can scrap. Make it happen. Don't stick them in the Apex, or dear Lord. And look, you know, I have not been anti-Apex very much at all, right? Because Apex quality cards in my mind belong in the Apex. This is not an Apex quality fight whatsoever.
Yeah, I believe this one deserves to be in front of fans. But Eddie, I do have one question for you. There was talk of renovations at the Apex at one point in time, adding seats. Is that still planning to moving forward in 2026? And how many seats do they think are going to be added?
I haven't seen a final number, but they added enough seats to where you no longer have to have a VIP package. They're still way overpriced, people, okay? Unless you're ready to drop $1,000 to drive to Vegas to hang out at the Apex, don't even bother, okay? But at least you don't have to spend $2,000 plus for the VIP experience, because that's the only way you can get into an Apex card these days. Now it's gonna be I can't even say more affordable. It's gonna be more accessible. There you go, more accessible for people to do it. But I wouldn't pay $1,000 to do any of that. That's fucking stupid.
Yeah. You can pay $1,000 to have pretty good seats at a pay-per-view. But Eddie, we got to move on here to some big news out of the boxing world and all combat sports world. Terrence Crawford announces his retirement. This comes a week after being stripped of a title because he didn't pay back a fine or some standard clause that he had to give back a percentage of the purse that was made against Canelo to the sanctioning body. And, they stripped him of the title. Eddie, I really see this as a frustration move, more of a take my ball and go home retirement. I think that Terrence might just say, you know what, I don't want to deal with the headache of this stuff right now. You guys are going to strip me from belts. We've got turmoil at middleweight right now, and I know who I'm going to fight. If it's Canelo again, if it's Benavidez or whoever it is that Terrence Crawford gets in there with, he's got to be motivated to enter into that ring against that person. And also he can't sit here and be getting, they're just poking the bear when these sanctioning bodies are sitting here and they're like, Terrence, we got to get paid. That's not going to make your star want to stick around in your sport. I think that we could see him come back against Canelo maybe in a year or so, or if someone comes up like a Boots Ennis and is a viable challenger for him in a weight class that he can still make. But I hopefully this is not the last we've seen in Terrence Crawford. I personally see this as more of a frustration move than a legitimate retirement.
Fully agree. I think this is a Mayweather move. Okay, history lesson, people. When Mayweather fought Oscar De La Hoya, okay, Oscar was putting it on Floyd. A lot of people thought Oscar should have gotten the nod in that fight. Okay, a lot of people thought Oscar would have won that. Okay, there was a rematch clause that was going to be activated. You know what Floyd does? Floyd retires, and he comes back the day after that clause and the contract expired. Yeah. Chestnut checkers, motherfuckers. In my mind, there must be something in some kind of contract or some kind of thing where Crawford's like, okay, you guys want to get cute with me? Great, I'm retiring. We're going to get your money out now, motherfuckers, okay? And then guess what? I'm going to come back the day after that clause dies off. Or you're right. He's just going, you know what, guys? Fuck it. I don't want to fuck with y'all. You want me back? You want to make you more money? You better make it worth my time. Otherwise, I'm just going to go home.
Yeah, I think so, man. And honestly, boxing is the most petty sport that we have.
Yeah.
Because of the unorganization in the sport, honestly.
Yeah. No, 100%. You're right. And there's a lot of really dirty entities in boxing and everything. Don't worry. Hey, there's a shit ton of dirty entities in MMA. We could do an entire hour on these assholes, okay? Yeah. But, in terms of boxing, those are more well-known. Way more well-known.
Yep, certainly. But me and Eddie do not believe this is the last time we will see Terrence Crawford in the ring. But if it is the last time that we see Terrence Crawford, he's had one of the greatest careers that we have ever seen.
Oh, yeah. He's one of the best ever.
Yep. So what do we have next here on the news, Eddie?
All right. Next up, we are talking Kyoji Horiguchi against Amir Albazi. Not the fight I wanted to see whatsoever.
That's a fight at flyweight, man. And Kyoji,
it's a great fight.
Just came back to the UFC and got that big win over Tygir Ulanbekov. For Amir Albazi, it's going to be interesting to see him get back in there. But I got to tell you, out of the gate, I like Kyoji Horiguchi's chances in that fight.
I like Kyoji as well. And Amir's a bad dog. I mean, come on, man. Amir Albazi can scrap, but Kyoji in my mind is a higher level. I just think it's a waste of booking, dude. Why aren't you giving me Taira or Iguchi in Japan? Y'all tripping. That'd be a great fucking fight. Talking about the UFC missing the boat on another one. God dang.
I think they're hoping Tatsuro Taira beats Joshua Van, and then that's
Hey, I'm hoping. I got Kyoji over Amir, and I do have Taira over Van. If that fight happens, I do think Van. I do think Taira wins that fight. And that'd be fucking dude in Japan. Oh, I'd be fucking sick.
Yeah, it would. I think that's the fight that they're trying to build towards. But in the past, where they've had Yan Xiaonan and Weili Zhang and not capitalize on China as well. So hopefully we can get it right this time around in that one.
I'll tell you right now, if Taira becomes champion and Kyoji wins this fight, and they match those two up in Japan on a numbered event for the title, our very own Jay Anderson is going to be falling over himself to get his ass to Japan because he loves that spot. He loves Japan. Yeah, I guarantee he'd be like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna go.
Yeah, he should go out to Ryzen some year. I bet they'd love to have us out there.
Oh, for sure. No, he dude. Okay, if you guys ever wonder who does all the Ryzen results pages, it ain't me, motherfuckers. I ain't up at 2 a.m. watching that shit. You know who it is? It's Jay motherfucking Anderson, one of the baddest dudes on our team. That dude's a badass, straight up
grinder. But yeah, Ryzen, they've got good fighters over there. A lot of the guys, and I mean, even this New Year's Eve show this year, they got a guy Okakobo from Japan is fighting one of Khabib's guys, and he's like 29-1. He's going to be coming over here to the UFC pretty quickly, from what I'm hearing. But a lot of good talent over there in Ryzen, and I think Kyoji Horiguchi is going to be on a short list to title contention himself, especially if he can get past Amir Albazi.
Hopefully, man. I love Kyoji. I want to see that dude scrap for a title.
All right, next. Hey, let's talk a little bit about the PFL, man. We just had a PFL card from France, Lyon, Paris, France. Where were we at?
Paris, Lyon, PFL, Lyon.
Yeah. So in the main event, who'd we have fight here, Eddie? I don't have
exactly. No, exactly. No one cares. No one gives a fuck. Vadim Nemkov, my boy. Vadim Nemkov. Let me pull up the topology real quick because I wasn't ready for that one either. But he
victory, got a submission.
He bored the shit out of me.
It's nobody's going to challenge Francis. We don't have Francis on site. It's not building up. Me and my buddies had a hard time watching the event because we didn't have ESPN Plus exclusive for the prelims. You know, I'm trying to give my best effort to the promotion under new leadership with John Martin at the helm. I think he's going to be talking in post fights and kind of have a good leadership role there. But Eddie, Vadim Nemkov is a great fighter. He's one of the best 205 pounds in the world. I don't know what his potential is at heavyweight, especially against some of those big guys like Francis. But he proved it over a very large guy in Renan Ferreira, 6'8" last weekend. Do you think he can take Francis down and do what he did to Ferreira to Francis? I don't know if he can, because when you look at the Francis and Renan fight, Francis relatively did a similar thing to Ferreira. Ferreira's ground game just is not there right now.
Francis can wrestle. He's not A level, top level D1 whatsoever. Okay, but he's a massive human being that can do the basics at least. Okay, so if Vadim thinks he's going to get in there, first of all, if Vadim thinks he's going to shoot for the crotch and not catch an uppercut or a right hand or something on the way in, he's out of his fucking mind. Yeah, he better go hang out with Fedor and go watch some of his old fights, because he wasn't doing that shit either. Or they wouldn't do that to him. But it's just a silly fight. It's weird. I don't care for it at all. I know Francis is like, Vadim, whatever. I don't think he has a choice. Look, John Martin's doing a great job already in the very short time he's been CEO. This is just growing pains in terms of, look, I got to use what I got right now. We're going to figure this shit out. So give PFL a year, and I think he's going to turn this roster over and make it a lot more fun. But this is just going to look like a silly matchup. I mean, if they do it, great. But if I'm Francis, I'd rather go box.
Yeah. There are two big names, Eddie, that are free agents right now in the heavyweight division, and both of them are very accomplished. You have Gable Stevenson, and you have Rico Verhoeven. Rico Verhoeven just relinquished the title and glory. He's the kickboxing champion of the world, hasn't lost in about 10 calendar years. The best on the feet. A killer. Now for Stevenson, he might be the most talented prospect we've ever seen, right? A lot of people compare him to Daniel Cormier, but say he might even be more talented than him. We saw him knock a guy out with a left hook and finish a takedown with a guy who was unconscious, right? He's got tremendous talent. If I'm the PFL, you have to sign both of them before the UFC so you can grow your heavyweight division, because your heavyweight division is terrible right now. You've got Romanov, who might be the best heavyweight you actually have, Popov. You've got Vadim Nemkov, And then you need to add those two boys to even get Francis some fresh blood here. Because listen, if you have Gable Stevenson going here and take out a Vadim Nemkov and take out a Renan Ferreira, and you have some type of tournament to decide who's going to fight Francis next, and you put Stevenson in there, you put Rico Verhoeven in there, you put Vadim Nemkov, you put some of these guys, that at least builds some type of entertainment value for the fans about who's going to fight Francis next. If you put Vadim Nemkov immediately into a fight with Francis, some people might watch that. But I think that those two free agents right now need to be picked up by the PFL in pretty short order.
I agree with you. I don't know if they'll even have a shot at Stevenson. I think Rico Verhoeven is absolutely gettable for PFL. So absolutely, at least go get him. I think Gable is going to be dead set on going to the UFC. You know what? Like if he somehow, like if he shows up to the UFC and he eats it, sucks and whatever, and after 3 fights gets cut, then great, pick him up PFL. But offer him money now that he can't refuse.
Here's my thing, Eddie. Who in that tournament, if he goes into that PFL $1 million tournament, right? And we saw this exact thing with DC, right? DC had 3 fights before he went into the Strikeforce tournament and fought Josh Barnett, Bigfoot Silva, and really good guys, right? So he got that experience in short order. If Gable Stevenson went over into the world tournament next year, I don't think anybody beats him. I don't think Popov beats him. I don't think Goltsov beats him. I don't think Romanov beats him. I literally think he's more talented than every single one of those guys, and it would give him experience to catapult into the UFC after he got that $1 million win. Would you like to see him in the world tournament potentially? I think that would be a reasonable step up in competition.
Wait, didn't they stop the tournament thing?
No. Just for next season, as they get ready for next season and try and get names together. I believe Popov and Romanov were the main event of the heavyweight tournament last year.
Well, I like I said, I agree with you. I just don't think Gable wants to do that. I mean, the dude, even at LFA, all he was talking about is UFC this and UFC that. And you know, I think we've been talking about that for a while, that the plan is for him to go there. And you know, the UFC absolutely could use a guy like him anyway. But you know, playing devil's advocate, absolutely, dude. I don't see anybody that could wreck Gable in a tournament.
No, I don't either. But that's a decision that him and his team will have to decide. Maybe they'll want to go with the fast money in the PFL. Maybe they'll want to go with the guaranteed contract in the UFC, Eddie. But do we have some more news on here before we get into our topics for our awards?
So I did not see this interview you're talking about with Francis and Ariel, so you got to tell me about it.
All right, so Francis got on there with Ariel, and Ariel was basically like, why are you not at PFL Africa? What's going on with Don Davis? You know, all this stuff, and asked him about Dana White in the situation where Dana said he put his hands on him, and Francis did not deny it. He was basically like, well, I'm sure Dana has cameras. If he wanted to come out and show something, he could do that. I don't really have anything to say about it. Like, he did not deny it. And then he goes to talk about the PFL and says that they haven't really been into contact as much. Now, John Martin did say last weekend that he had talked to Francis, so I'm assuming that they got into some type of contact after the interview with Ariel last Monday. But he was basically saying he doesn't know who he's going to fight. Maybe it's boxing, maybe it's not. He was offered multiple tens of millions of dollars to fight Jake Paul in the fight with Anthony Joshua that's going to be going on. He thought it was beneath him. He declined the fight. And Eddie, he's fought twice in boxing, once in the PFL. He's holding the promotion up, and he might be bankrupting them as well. Maybe,
but again, this is Don Davis screw up. Shouldn't have done that from the get. I think we all agree he shouldn't have signed him. I think when it was happening, it's like, oh, he's gonna go PFL and everything. I'm like, dude, if PFL, I think I said a long time ago. I said, like, before it happened, I said if PFL signs him, they will barely see him, if at all, because that man just wants to go box while being called an MMA fighter. That's all he wants to do. So, you know, there's that. And then on top, the funny thing about the whole thing where he's like, you know, Dana's got cameras. We want to come out with something he could. It is incredible. It was a setup by Ariel. I'm assuming. I haven't seen it. I have to go watch it and let you know for sure. But I believe a question like that from Ariel is a setup just to like make Dana look stupid or make him look silly. Like, man, he told you put your hands on him. And Francis basically might as well have been like, maybe I did. Maybe I didn't.
What happened? He wanted Francis.
Really?
He wanted Francis to be like, oh, I would never do that. Dana's lying, slandering my character. But he did it. He was like,
Oh, I love that. I love that, man. Francis, the longer he's in the States, the more he's probably going to pick up the sarcasm angle of America. I love it.
But it's worth the watch there, Eddie. Let's get into some awards, though, for this year.
Do it.
Male Fighter of the Year, Eddie. I'm going to go with Islam Makhachev. I mean, destroyed Renato Moicano earlier in the year at lightweight. Moves up beats Jack Della Maddalena easily, becomes a double champion. One of very few to accomplish that. And actually, his mentor, Khabib Nurmagomedov, in his corner for that fight, never was a double champion, but teaches his pupil, Islam Makhachev, to become the double champion there as his head coach. That's my male fighter of the year. Eddie, who do you got?
I said I had this guy picked before he lost, and I'm not changing my pick. The machine, Merab Dvalishvili. So the fuck what? Okay, you, Mr. Brett Cagle, you tell me who's done this. January 18th, beats Umar Nurmagomedov to defend his title. Fight of the night. All right. June 7th, okay, finishes Sean O'Malley. I think it was a rematch. Finishes Sean O'Malley, all right, in the third round. All right, performance of the night. Then beats Corey Sandhagen October 4th, okay, for his third title defense in the year. Went for his fourth one because he's a bad motherfucker, okay? Sure, loses to Peter Yan, fight of the night. Are you telling me someone had a better showing in 2025 than Merab? Come on.
Well, here's the thing, Eddie. I agree with you 100%, except for he lost last weekend, right? And
so
I was almost going to give this to Peter Yan because Peter Yan's only won twice, right? So we were expecting Merab to pull off the historic feat, 4 title wins in 1 year. Then it's no questions asked. But so we get Alice Pereira getting his belt back. That could potentially be a guy who we look at. I'm going to go with Islam Makhachev just over the dominance in his wins for that. So I'm going to Islam Makhachev, Eddie, but I see what you're saying. What about Josh Van, though, too? We're going to talk about Josh Van maybe in some other awards later in the year. But for this guy to come in, I know that him getting the win over Pantoja left a bad taste in everybody's mouth. It's not how you want to get the belt. But when you look at it, he had 4 wins this year and becomes the youngest champion in the history of the division.
Yeah, real quick on Merab. The reason I kept him as my pick is because he went for a 4 title defense in an organization where champions almost tried to not fight. I mean, you get champions in this. Tom Aspinall, John Jones. Like, how are we having guys that are champions that don't fight? Tom Aspinall guy, I poked twice, and somehow he can't see shit for 6 weeks, but then he can see plenty. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying now? Like, all these champions that don't do jack shit. And Merab's like, I want to fight. Pick me. I want to fight. Oh, Danny goes, oh, chill out, Merab. No, fucker. I want to fight. He's the only one. He's the only one. So that's why I picked it. But Joshua Van can make a case. Or could make a case up until he took the belt the way he did. That was hard. That kind of in my mind screwed him over. Okay, so it is what it is on that end. But Joshua Van did some impressive stuff. If you look at who he had, who like, it wasn't that necessarily who he beat. It was the opportunities he took to beat those guys and kind of catapult himself up into a title shot. Okay, so. In let me see real quick. March 8th, all right, beats Ray Saruya, decision 313. All right, 3 numbered events later, UFC 316, knocks out Bruno Silva, then beats Brandon Royval the very next month. Not even like 3 weeks later, he beats Brandon Royval by decision, takes that one. I think that was fight of the night, and then gets the belt against Pantoja. Yeah. Had it not been for the fact, this is just me. Had it not been for Pantoja busting his arm the way he did, and that's how Van won the title, I would have picked Van. Right? But it was close. It was definitely close.
Exactly. If it was Merab and Merab would have won, I would have picked Merab. Yeah. If it would have been a clean win for Joshua Van, I would have picked Joshua Van. But I got to go with Makhachev because it wasn't a clean win, and it wasn't, kind of one of those things where I was stuck between rock and hard. But I'm going to go with Makhachev. He's best pound-for-pound fighter in the world right now. So, Eddie, let's move on to the women's division. I think we're probably going to have the same one here. Valentina Shevchenko had a great year. The historic win over Weili Zhang, also turning back an upstart contender and known for Rowe earlier in the year, Eddie. I think that Valentina Shevchenko, her dominance speaks for herself. But Mackenzie Dern was able to get a title at a weight class lower.
The Mackenzie Dern was a little weird. I thought about picking Mackenzie Dern. I really did. But more because of the entire journey, right? Like her journey. I've been following her since she was at ADCC, years ago. And so her winning the title, I was really happy for her. I really was. I wasn't impressed by the fight or honestly the way she got the fight or anything like that. But just the story overall, the fact that she was able to do it was amazing. I picked Valentina Shevchenko, just turning everybody back. Gets her title back late 2024 from Alexa Grasso, right? After getting choked out by her at 285 in 23, right? Then later in 23 goes to split draw, which is insane. But Grasso keeps her title. Then 306 takes the title from Grasso, turns back Manon Ferrell, who everybody thought was going to get Valentina Fitz. All right, and then takes the super fight against Wei Li and beats her too. No other, and people are going to say Kayla Harrison and all that. Nah, Kayla Harrison, the most impressive. I mean, I'm impressed by Kayla Harrison. Okay, but the biggest thing she did was make 135. Honestly, that was like, holy shit. The fight against the scale was crazy.
Yeah.
But no, dude, I think Valentina takes it.
And her biggest test is yet to come. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe next year is the year of Kayla Harrison.
Oh, yeah.
I predict that's probably what ends up happening. But yeah, we got the same one here. What's next on the list there, Eddie?
Next on the list will be, let me see. We got fight of the year. Let's do fight of the year.
Okay. You mentioned my fight of the year earlier. I have Brandon Royval versus Joshua Van. I thought that was an absolute bloodbath. Broke the record, I believe, at flyweight for total strikes in a contest for 3 rounds. Eddie, I wish this one was 5 rounds, but it won fight of the night on the night. And I think it was probably the fight of the year. The other one that I was looking at in just pure carnage was Nazim Sadiakov and Nicholas Mota. And then for a 1-round war, I was really impressed with Iwo versus Ibo Aslan. I forget the Polish fighter's name, the last name, Iwo. He was able to get the victory there, but knocked out Ibo Aslan a couple weeks ago. I thought that was a pretty good fight as well.
Oh, man, I like all those, man, but I had to pick Yuri Prochazka, Khalil Roundtree, UFC 320. Yuri Prochazka got his ass whooped on for 2 rounds and said, "Samurai motherfucker, let's go." Knocks out Roundtree on some savage shit. Dude, that was so sick to me. That fight, and not a lot of fights had me jumping up and down. That fight, I was like, holy shit. Like, I was losing my mind, like trying not to wake up my 5-year-old in the room next door. Like, it was just wild shit, dude. A great fight. Honestly, impressed as hell by that one.
Yeah. And you could feel Khalil kind of weaning as Yuri was pumping himself up. He was like jumping up and down as he was moving forward. Had the energy left there in the 3rd round. It was awesome. I like your pick as well. Knockout of the year, Eddie. 2 on the same card were my knockout of the year, and I couldn't decide between which one to go with. We were both there in person for these fights. Carlos Pratt over Jeff Neal, and Lerone Murphy over Aaron Pico. I'm going to go with Lerone Murphy over Aaron Pico because of just the pure brutality of the finish. Aaron Pico was knocked out on the spinning elbow. Then he finishes him with a hammer fist as well. I thought that was going to garner an immediate title shot for Lerone Murphy. Ends up not happening, but I thought that was my knockout of the year and the statement performance of 2025.
Same exact pick, my guy. Lerone Murphy finally, at that moment, that night, I think you and I had the same feeling, finally earns his title shot. After years of winning fights and getting passed over and looked over, no one wants to see Lerone Murphy because he doesn't talk. He doesn't talk shit. He doesn't sell pay-per-views with his words or anything like that, not with his social media posts, and they pass him over. But that was the way he turned back Aaron Pico, who everybody thought, dude, Aaron's going to come in here, take him down, beat him up. Lerone Murphy's like, eat an elbow, bitch. Good night. See ya. It was awesome. And it was a great moment to see, especially after having, asked him about the shit talking, right? About the trash talking, how he gets passed over opportunities. Then he does that, letting his fight, like his fighting do the talking. Fucking awesome, dude. That's easy to meet for me. Knockout of the year.
Yeah, me as well. Eddie, submission of the year. Who do you have for submission of the year?
Let me go to my list because I swear I had it. Oh, yeah. John Silva submitting Bryce Mitchell. Mainly because I was laughing my ass off. It was because, like, John Silva, he does the barking stuff and everything, but he was psychologically going after Bryce Mitchell the entire fight week. I mean, the entire lead up to the fight on social media, at the presser, and then he gets him with a 2nd round ninja choke. That was impressive right now. And good for you, bro. I'll be pooping later. Sorry, someone in the comment section, he says, I'm pooping, not gonna lie. Hey, I got one. As soon as it shows over, I gotta hit the can do, dog. Huh? Yeah,
Who said that?
Balthazar 10. No, I love the comment.
I like it. That was a 6 submission, and it really catapulted Silva there into contention. Obviously lost to Diego Lopez, but we're going to see both those guys come back in the first part of the year in really high-level fights. Arnold Allen versus Gene Silva, and then obviously Diego Lopez fighting for the belt against Alexander Volkanovski. But, Eddie, the guy you had for fighter of the year, Merab Dvalishvili, we haven't talked about it yet. He submitted Sean O'Malley. He was the first guy to do it. And he, after the first fight, people said, oh, it's a close fight. We watched it back. Maybe O'Malley actually edged some of these rounds. Nothing like that in the second fight. It was a historic performance from Merab. Honestly, the best version we've seen him. Listen, the fight with Nurmagomedov, that was a great version of Merab, but he smoked O'Malley in this contest. He beat him on the feet. He took him down and he choked him out. North-south choke. Eddie, that was my submission of the year. Merab Dvalishvili subbing Sean O'Malley.
Yeah, making sure there's no questions this time around, right? Last time around, just took him down, kissed him and shit, all weird stuff. And this time he's like, nah, I'm gonna end you. I'm gonna end you. And Sean O'Malley, that ended any chance he could get for a title shot until Merab lost the title.
I know. Hey, real quick, we'll talk about this division before we move on to event of the year. Did you see Corey Sandhagen just climbed a mountain?
Which one?
I don't know. He's in like the Rocky Mountains or something. He's like trying to summit all these peaks in the Rocky Mountains. Go to his Instagram page after this. Right. Pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's fucking wild. I did not know. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's definitely on some shrooms out there, going to the top of the mountain, having a good time. But
you gotta be starting to be doing that.
Who had a close fight with Peter Yan their first time around. So honestly, it opens a division for a lot of guys. So a lot of those guys like O'Malley and Corey Sandhagen probably have a new lease on life looking in this division here in 2026.
Yes, sir. No, I'm about to find out what the fuck. I'll look it up later. I'm gonna tell me now. But yeah, that was dope.
Eddie, I think that the event of the year was also the two knockouts of the year that we were talking about. UFC 319 in Chicago, Khamzat Chimaev. Honestly, he did what everybody had destined for this kid since we've seen him the first 3 times in the cage, right? We saw him knock out Gerald Meerschaert. We saw him land 200 strikes on Reese McKee without getting one thrown on him. And he had another one in there as well that was dominant, about 175 strikes to 2 strikes. Everybody was anointing this guy the champion for years and years on end, thought he would be the first 3-division champion, started at 170, then moves up to 185. We don't know if he's big enough to have that same level of physicality at 185 pounds that he had at 170, but he proved so in this contest with Dricus du Plessis. Skills pay the bills at the highest level in this sport, and Khamzat Chimaev is the most skilled fighter right now at 185 pounds. I thought that was the event of the year. We had an elite level skill set technical main event that was dominating, and then we had knockouts all over. Tom Nolan and Cesar Kayev was a great fight on that card as well.
Yeah, 100%. Before I get my pick, pooping upside down, I'm assuming you're on the space station. So I'm glad you get good Wi-Fi up there, my guy. But my pick, I'm just going to go through the fights first, and then I'll give you the exact number, okay? Jacoby Smith, rear naked choke of Nico Price in the prelims. Right after that, Terrence McKinney mounted guillotine on Slava Klaus, who's no longer in the UFC, unfortunately. And then Tracy Cortez beats Bibiana Araujo, which, whatever, impressive on its own. Of course, Jose Delgado, okay, knocks down Hyder Emil and then beats him up on the ground. RoboCop goddamn nearly takes Jack Hermansson's life in the cage, okay? Thank you, Herb Dean. Peyton Talbot, all right, beats Felipe Lima, but gets himself a shot at Henry Cejudo. Benil Dariush shows he can still do it. Can't do it now, but, back then he could. Joshua Van takes Brandon Royval down in fight of the year for a lot of people, and then gets himself a title shot against the guy in the co-main event who submits Kai Kara-France via rear naked choke in the 3rd round, Alexander Pantoja. And then in the main event, we crowned our lightweight champion, Ilia Topuria, by knocking out a guy he didn't want to fight because he liked him so much, in Charles Oliveira, UFC 317 in that was T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. To me, that was the event of the year. I like your pick. Honestly, after I heard you the way you explained it, I like your pick a little better than mine now. But UFC 317 to me was fucking gangbusters.
Listen, the face of the sport right now is Ilia Topuria, and he became the face of the sport in that
Poor
fight,
bastard.
In that event. So I think both of those are honestly historical events in the longevity of the company, and are going to be events people look at for years and years to come. But those are our picks, fight fans, for the awards of the year. Cageside Press with me and Eddie here on the Combat Connection. We're going to actually be off for the next 2 weeks. I'm going to be spending some time with family. I'm moving back to school here to start a new semester as well. So we got some stuff going, but we will be back right before the first fight of the year. We will be previewing the card, and we will also help you guys usher in the new Paramount Plus era with the UFC. Make sure to go sign up on Paramount Plus. $120 for the year, as opposed to about $1,200 for watching last year. So, fight fans, we'll catch you here in about 2 weeks. Thanks for joining us.
Fire Gannon today, motherfuckers.